emissions are also exempt from the Clean Water Act. And in 2014, NASA detected a high concentration of a methane cloud above the Four Corner region. And I was actually out, I was back home last weekend, and they're still flaring. And I was within the area, maybe like a 5-mile radius around one of the methane flares, and my uncle and I got sick within like 7 minutes of just roaming around, looking for horses, and just being home. And it was not. But, so this is also a threat to the astronomical night sky study. That means a lot to indigenous peoples all over the world, and how to navigate the night sky. You know, how did we navigate the stars? Why are they so important to us? And it's amazing that our people were smart enough to detect that and see, you know, which is North Star, which is Big Dipper, which is which, and how can we communicate with our DNA that way, because those are gifts that were given to us, and it's just amazing. And so there's no capping to the methane. It's pollution is actually one of the highest concentration that is affected, you know, because of global warming. And so, yeah. And then NASA also detected the sacredness and detected the roadways within each ruin. And so that was also presented at APCG. And so they were there to give that description to our all Indian postal governors.
And just to add on to this, in the context of misinformation of the public, Cheyenne and I were at a meeting, what was it, last week? And where one of the industry representatives who was there, when spoken to about the methane concentration, which is one of the highest concentrations in the entire country, he was saying that the air actually in this area is one of the cleanest in the country. And the fact that an industry representative feels comfortable with an outright lie like that to a room of people who were educated and knew better just shows the privilege and the amount of influence that these corporations have, to where they can lie to the faces of our people about something that is public knowledge, and not be concerned about any consequences whatsoever. So that is something that's being perpetuated, is that the air is fine, that there's no threat, and that there is no health impact. So, but that's why these presentations are important, because we know better. We have to spread community knowledge. We have to spread stories like this, because otherwise the narrative that would be out there is that the air is healthy and fine to breathe, when the reality is you get sick from walking around outside.
Yeah, his name's Michael Flynn, and he was actually, not in your head, he was actually nominated and won an award for the Toxic Turkey Award, and that's an award that New Mexico government gives every year. And he's at these meetings. He was actually at the Sandoval County meeting, which was what Kaylee and I attended to. And that's like, why are they giving out awards of corrupting our people, our government? That's just not right. And so he's actually one of the representatives, one of the main leaders who paved the way for oil and gas. And it's not right, because he's just speaking on lies. And so, and he's actually really close with the commissioners too. Like, we saw them all hugging, and it was gross, yeah. Okay, so recent air testing has shown elevated levels of hydrogen sulfide at a well site located near Liebert Elementary School. Council of Chaco requests an immediate inspection and emission reduction, as exposure to elevated levels of hydrogen sulfide is dangerous and poses a health hazard to the children, teachers, and residents. So Kendra, thank goodness for Kendra. She is Tachini. It's crazy because all of our relations are through clan. And she is our community organizer. She does a lot of the air testings. And those air testings are expensive. They are expensive. So when she went out and did testing, it came out to 7.6. So that is between 2 and 5 and 20. So these are, I can't imagine going, I just can't imagine. For children, this well is right across Lybrook Elementary School. And that's the results we got. So this is an explosion during the summer. There's a link up above, Brandon. And then that's Farmington. So there's Halliburton lots everywhere. Farmington actually has a team called the Farmington Frackers. And they have them every summer. They have their own summer league, and then it's based off of frackers. Okay. So federal scientists declared our Southwest region as a natural sacrifice zone. Who all do that? Okay, now you know. So what happens to our land happens to our body. So this is the man camp, and it's right at the turnoff to Chaco. So when you're on 550 heading east, and you get off right before Naizi, you go right towards Pueblo towards Chaco Canyon, and there's like an intersection, and this is where it's at. So jurisdiction, this is a complicated issue for our bodies. And so what happens when a crime occurs again? It takes about 2 hours for any police or any type of services to come, and then it goes to what happened, who's involved, do we call the FBI, where's the FBI coming from, where's Navajo criminal investigators at? And so when it's a homicide, when it's a major crime, that's when things get sticky and we don't know what to do. We don't know what happens, we don't know the outcomes. In 2014, my family had to deal with a homicide and a non-native coming onto our lands and took away 2 women, 2 very most important women who hold our culture very dearly to their hearts. And my auntie had just gotten done with her kinalta, and it's crazy, we did an offering and everything, and we were affected by this because we didn't know whose land we were on. Even though it was a major crime, they couldn't do anything because the perpetrator shot himself. And so, and it's not, I'm not the only family member that experiences this. Because we're so far away, it's really hard for us to get any services when it comes to violence against women, with whether it be in our border town of Cuba or whether it be at our chapter houses, whether it be even our delegate bringing any awareness to this, because he doesn't bring any awareness to this. He's actually very opposed to our solidarity efforts. So yeah. So man camps, mobile homes supporting oil workers due to oil and gas booms. And yeah, so like right now, we're in a border town. And let's see, about a month ago, 2 months ago, I got done with a metal show out of Shiprock, supporting, what was I supporting? I forgot their name, Signal 99. Sorry. So they're a heavy metal band based out of Shiprock. I left the show heading back home, and I stopped at Hilltop, the gas station up there. Next is Ifnal it's the only gas station right across Herfinale Mesa, and I had a non-native. She was about 21 years old. I was traveling alone, and she kept following me when I was shopping, just buying chips or whatever, heading back home. And she just kept following me. Oh, hey, Mario. Mario's also an organizer as well. He's my gosh. So, yes. So just thought I'd acknowledge him. But, so yeah, I was just shopping, getting ready to leave, and then this girl just kept following me. I went to the restroom, and then I went back out. I was putting in gas, and she was like, hi, and then I was like, hi, can I help you? And she's like, I really need to go to Albuquerque. Which way are you going? And I was just like, over there. I'm going over there. And then she's like, where are you going? And then she grabbed my arm, and I was like, I'm going back to Pueblo Pintado. And then she's like, where is that? And then I was like, it's over there. And when I put in my key and I was getting ready to leave, and I opened the door, and she crawls in the back of my car. And I had my laptop, I had my camera, just going back home, and I had to tell her, excuse me, like, please get out of my car. What are you doing? And she's just like, I really need to get out of here. I really, really need to get out of here. I just need to go back to Albuquerque. And so I was like, I'm sorry, I can't take you. You got into the back of my car without my consent. I'm sorry. And so she's like, that's fine. And she slams my door, and she jumps into a oil and gas truck. And I don't know where they went. And I didn't know what to do. I had to cry a little because this was my first encounter of a young woman asking for my help. And I didn't know what to do. So things like that just randomly occur. You know, then this is along 550. This is at the center of all of the fracking activity going on. And so I had to call my boss. I had to call our chapter house leader, because who else am I supposed to call? I tried calling, I don't know. And I was scared too, because like I didn't want to contact the police, because I don't want to deal with the police. Who knows what they would do to me? But I just left it, and I just went back home, prayed, and went back home. So I believe she was trafficked. I believe she did. So that's the vibe I got off of her, and I didn't know what to do. So violations after violations. Actually, we're going to bring this up. The parcels. There's 26 parcels that are nominated in over 4,000 acres. The lease sale is going to be. Oh no. Wait. That's in January. That's in March. March, yes. And this is coming from Farmington Field Office. And so we're definitely in the planning stages of how we're going to do this, because this isn't, Trump passed an executive order of energy independence. And so what that means is, they're going to be targeting indigenous communities first and foremost. There's no independence when it comes to the United States, because they're relying off of our natural resources and our bodies.
We have another coalition member joining us. Do you want to introduce yourself a bit?
Sayama, Awakito, Hiwoto is the Isong at the Mayo. My name is Ajani Yepa. I'm from the Pueblo Youth and from the Little River Band of Ottawa Indians up in Michigan. So, yeah. I just got here from Albuquerque.
So just to back up a little bit, I want to talk about the situation in Chaco as far as leasing. So 94% of the greater Chaco landscape has already been leased. So the remaining 6% is what they're still, am I correct? The remaining 6% is what they want to continue fracking. So there are nominated parcels for another leasing to happen in March. This is where it gets complicated. Right now there is a process happening, which is an amendment to the resource management plan So what is going down right now is they're trying to figure out what the environmental and cultural impacts are of this industry in the area that it's in. That process is not done yet. It's not even close to being finished. And there's a new leasing already going to happen, and it seems as if it's being expedited. The process we're already seeing, and this was just announced, within the last couple months that this might happen, and it's moving fast. Everything is just falling into place for it. One of the things that happened that is pushing this forward is there was an agreement between BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, and the tribal leadership that there would be a 10-mile buffer around the Chaco National Park where there would be no activity within that stretch of land. The Trump administration deemed that as null and void. They said this is not something that we have to respect, so it's gone.
And that was following Zinke's visit.
Following Zinke's visit here. So that's a step that was taken to expedite this process. So there is a finite amount of land that has not been fracked yet, and there's already steps in motion to get that land fracked. So that's where, okay, so the violations that were mentioned on the previous slide, there are various acts that have been put into place on behalf of Indigenous people, but also just on behalf of any environmental concerns and people in the area. And this is just a small list of acts that are violated by what is happening and what has already happened. So, a part of all of the leasing and a part of all of the, legal jargon, not legal jargon, very serious legal things that we need to go into, and being involved with the politics is like Navajo Nation has 2 legislations up regarding fracking. It's recommending, requesting scientific studies and education on the health impacts from hydraulic fracturing. So that's 012117, and then at the bottom is 022616, and that is the studies and education of the environmental impacts from hydraulic fracking. And then, so when we went to the hearings for these, we actually had the community of Aneth come up, and they've also gave testimony on why fracking is bad and how they're also getting sick, and how also they've been cheated out by the Navajo Nation government and all of the leasing process that's been happening. And so, and also our Tri-Chapter Community Alliance have all passed resolutions and demanding an evacuation plan statement, as well as requesting a moratorium. And they're always passing legislations to make sure that our people are safe. Like, it's constant resolution. And so, can you go forward? So, and then it brings back to, like, what are these resolutions going to do? At what point, how many more resolutions are we going to have to write that our elders have to constantly put work into, and they're not being heard by our council delegate, and they're being told, culture, like, that doesn't matter anymore. Get over it. We have a multi-billion company that wants to help us. And so that's a slap in the face to our elders. And, and this saying that we need to listen and protect our elders and respect our women. And if you look at it, we hear that, but we don't see it. Because for one, 4 out of 5 Native women will be assaulted or raped in her lifetime. All of those statistics are real. Even the stat for elder abuse, that's very real. It's very high. And so, I don't appreciate our leaders, our Navajo leaders telling us this. And so here's their contact information. Call them, at them, and tell them to protect Chaco and do a better job in protecting our Tri-Chapter communities, because with all of the push that we're getting from the Trump administration and being, and targeting our lands and our people, like, we have to find better leaders to stand up for us and help us, even if it becomes, to occupying land, because all of the 26 parcels that are nominated in March, that is 4,000 acres of land, and that is a lot of land. So where I'm stuck at is what we're going to do. How are we going to do this? What are we going to do? Because this is all sacred land, and we can't measure it. And we have, stories that goes as far as like the Capizone Peak, all the way up to Jemez, and you can't measure it. And so, yeah. But also, we also have strong relations with Mr. Shendu and Derek Linty. Derek Linty has been very supportive, and he's holding the Sandoval County Commissioners accountable for what they're doing and what they're trying to advocate for. So not only do we have to hold BLM accountable, and Navajo Nation, we also have to worry about what Sandoval County Commissioners are doing.
because they're on stolen land and they have access to allow, you know, lands to be sold. They're allowed to lease land, and so how does that work?
So yeah, there's been a lot of work done at various levels of government with the, you know, Shai gave the information to call the Navajo Nation leaders, but Derek Linty and Benny Shendo both have been involved in passing a memorial at the State House level, the State House and Senate, and as well as a memorial and moratorium that was passed with the All Pueblo Governors Council of Governors. And so it's really important for us to keep the relationships up with these governors, spiritual leaders, and other leaders in our communities, especially considering, you know, the land that we're talking about is sacred land, and it is very important and spiritual to not just, you know, one tribe, but many tribes have ties there. It was, you know, a cultural center and a trade center, and every tribe actually probably has ties to Chaco Canyon because its trade networks extend out so vastly. So, you know, it's important that we keep consulting our spiritual leaders and our governmental leaders because, yeah, it's sacred land, and we want to make sure that when we do this work, we're doing it in the most respectful way possible. So,
Okay, get your pens out. This is a list of things that Pueblo people can do, but also our allies can also do. Number one, meet with your leadership. Meet with your governmental leadership, meet with spiritual leaders. It's so, so, so important to how we're moving forward and how we're able to engage, that they know that you're concerned, that they're informed of the facts of the situation, and that they're given all of the necessary knowledge to be able to move forward and advocate like they need to. Secondly, one of the big victories, and we don't get a lot of victories in this, so this is really great. Last Thursday, or it was the Thursday before that, the All Pueblo Council of Governors passed Resolution 2017-12, which calls for a complete moratorium on fracking within the greater Chaco landscape. It's big, it's big. So what this would do is to halt all industry production until the completion of that resource management plan assessment that I talked about. So if you happen to be at the National Congress of American Indians Annual Convention, if you can attend the session where this will be posed to the Congress, the advocacy for this resolution at the federal level is going to be crucial in getting it to BLM and getting it observed. So if you're able to attend that, please support this and make sure that do everything in your power to make sure it passes. Also, Council of Governors, the monthly meetings are open to the public. You can go to those for updates on the work of our Natural Resources Committee and the Greater Chaco Landscape Subcommittee. And lastly, you can follow Dine Pueblo Youth Solidarity on Facebook for notification of our future community education initiatives. So we just finished a summer of events throughout New Mexico, and we're planning to do more in the future to have longer community education sessions about fracking and about extractive industries and how people can get involved and how we can protect ourselves and our land.
Okay. So just a correction, it's 48,000 acres of land that BLM plans to auction off. And let's see, hold on. And then on October 13th from 11 to 3 p.m., we're going to be meeting at Councilor Chapter House to discuss what we're going to be doing from now to March, or to October, or yeah, to the March leasing sale, and how are we going to move forward, what are the actions that we can do to bring more awareness to this. And our Chapter House leaders will be there, our Dine Solidarity group will be there as well, so y'all are welcome to come out. That's it. And don't forget to call our senators and and our Navajo leaders, because they need to hear us out, and yeah, we need to hold them accountable.